So as you can see here, I have a piece in progress and I need to add more thread. So I have taken the needle off of my working thread. So I have about 4 inches of thread left here. I've got my new thread on a new needle and I'm just going to leave just a very small, maybe 1 inch tail thread. So when I add new thread, first of all, we do not want to get rid of our old thread yet. We want to leave this here so that you know exactly where you will need to start when you are ready to begin again. So I'm going to take my needle and I'm actually going to run it down through the bead that the thread is coming out of. So my thread, you can see, is coming out of that bead right there. So I'm going to take my needle and I'm just going to start running the needle down a few of the beads there. And you can see my needle came off, but that's okay. Now, once I pulled through about 6 to 8 inches, I'm going to wrap those threads around my finger to get them out of the way. And then I'm going to lock the thread in place. When we lock the thread in place, that just means we are going to pass through several beads to lock it into place where it will not move and will not pull out. So as you can see, I'm coming out of this bead right here and I'm coming out of the bottom of the bead. So I'm going to come up through the bead right next to it. It does not matter if I go to the bead to the left or to the right. I'm just going to go up through the one right next to it. Make sure your thread doesn't get caught here. I'll pull it out of the way. And then you are going to come down through the bead you were just coming out of so that you have gone through those 2 beads and now you have locked that thread right there. So then I'm going to go through and I'm going to pass through a few more beads here. You want to go through them no matter what stitch you're doing. You'll want to kind of go at a diagonal like I did here so that your thread does not show between the beads. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come up through the bead right next to the one I'm coming out of. I'm going to come back down through that bead that I started with there. And then I'm just going to come through again. Biggest thing is pay attention to your thread, that your thread doesn't get caught on anything. And then I might take the needle and now instead of going up 1 bead, I may go up 2 or 3 at a diagonal there. And then I might go down and then up. And then down, and this time I may go through 2 or 3 beads. But once I do that, and got it fixed here, there we go. Once I do that, I'm going to take and I'm going to pull this thread. If this thread up here does not move when I give this a tug, then it's all right. It is locked into place. So I can now take and cut this off. What I like to do though to stop me from having to cut twice at different times, I go ahead now and I put the needle onto the original working thread that I had here. And I'm going to come down through the bead right next to where my thread is. And then I'm going to start that locking procedure with this new, or this tail that I had. So same thing, I'm going to go up through a bead right next to where the thread's exiting. And then I'm going to go back down through that first bead again. And then up. You see how my thread keeps getting caught, so you really want to be careful with that there. And if the needle comes unthreaded, just again, thread it back on. And then go at it. So once I've gone through several beads and I feel confident that this is not going to come out, That's when I'll grab the scissors and I'll go ahead and trim both of those threads so that now my new thread is already in place and it's ready to go. So that's how easy adding thread and ending thread is when you're working on a piece.